Aharon, ma'anyanim, how you doing?
Very good, very good. Consider like not just good, amazing. Consider, good to see you.
Thank you for joining us on this program. And I had a lot of questions for you. Is that a coffee roaster behind you?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the reason why I'm here, because this machine, I decided to roast coffee, and that's what brought me to have like a coffee business, because I wanted to roast coffee for myself, and then I realized that it's a very expensive equipment, and then I said, you know what, I maybe gonna do it professionally, and I'm very happy I did it.
How long have you been roasting coffee at professionally?
7 years.
Aharon's is 7 years old?
One, it's 6 years, but I started to take professional classes in Panama, in Buquete, Panama, 7 years ago. And then I was roasting on commercial roasters in Marin County, Mill Valley.
When the quarantine started, the stay-at-home order started, your coffee place stayed open. Am I correct?
Yes.
And you've been open the whole time?
The whole time we are open. We didn't close, but we did some adjustments. So I changed the hours. Instead to close at 6 p.m., I'm closing now at 4 p.m. And that's the change I did. We have less traffic, so less people working. So, we do adjustment as we need.
If we were to get philosophical, I'm curious, what has this new reality brought to you, and how is being a coffee roaster giving you special sensitivities, insights into how to survive, thrive under these circumstances?
It's a good question. I'm not so sure I have the answer for it, but now it's like every day there is new information. So every day everything is changing. What I thought yesterday, it's not what I think today. But we are pushing forward. We are like making more marketing. We sending much more emails. We making blogs. We are making sure that people are aware that we are active with the community that we have. After 6 years of operating over here, we have very good followers. So we are blessed by it. So we're getting good response from all the emails that we're sending in the marketing. Beside that, I'm trying to see like what I can change in what I'm offering. So first, I reduced the amount of food that I have here. So I'm not offering as much. So I'm trying to change it to see how I can offer it more grab and go. Coffee-wise, everything stayed the same. The biggest thing that I did, and it's working for us very well, we selling coffee online. So we have an online store on our website, aharoncoffee.com, and we do sell online since the beginning we opened. But now we're selling much more. So people that are clients are not coming anymore to work because my location have a lot of businesses and no more people coming to work in these businesses. So those people that are very close people to us, they are ordering online, and we're doing an extra effort to blog and explain how to brew coffee, if it's espresso or pour over or French press for people, and that's engaging in a conversation that help people to see what we have. And that's working for us. So that's actually increasing the income a bit, that what we lost in the store. So that's working. still it's not what we need, but it's much better.
You're able to still bring in the coffee all the way from around the world. I mean, when we're in your store, so you can see coffee from around the world. I never saw such a wide variety of coffee in my life.
So it's a situation worldwide. I had conversation with a farmer in Mexico, and I had like another distributors that buying coffee from around the world. We had a lot of big conversation about it, and one of the biggest problem is actually to have people to be able to pick up the coffee from the trees, because the coffee is on the trees and people need to go and pick it up. So that's like a very, very tough to have pickers right now in the COVID-19 pandemic, go and pick coffee. The biggest devastation that happened, it's in Peru. They were not able to pick up the harvest, because in the midst of like the peak of the COVID-19, that was when all the trees produce all the fruits, and they had the big situation of COVID-19 over there. They didn't have pickers to go to pick up the fruit, so they lost their season. So that's a big deal. So there is some restriction from some places. Some places had the harvest before the COVID-19. Some places going to have the harvest in a couple months. So not every region in the world harvesting at the same time, since the weather is different in each sector of our world. Yeah.
So the average American or the gourmet coffee drinker doesn't have to worry about the coffee supply.
I hope not. I don't know. Every day, everything is changing. So now we have coffee. Thanks God. I'm like all the time buying a bit extra from what I need, just to have a little bit more cushion. So I'm engaging to make sure I'm going to have a coffee to roast. So yeah, I don't know. It's everything's changing.
Let's talk about the ritual. I never understood the great care that could go into making a cup of coffee until I saw you make a cup of coffee. Could you teach us just a little bit why the ritual matters?
Yes. Thank you for letting me actually say something about it, because this is what I'm really passionate about, to share the joy of coffee. And the joy of coffee is going to have that experience of joy only if you're going to have attention to the details. And the details, it's the ritual itself. So you can actually like push a button and do drip coffee in a regular filter machine, and that's going to be very good and it's going to be okay. But you need to make sure you're using good water, and you're using the right amount of coffee, and you're using good quality coffee. To have good experience from coffee, you don't want just the drug of it, just the caffeine. You want actually the experience of the joy and the different notes, and really the time that you're drinking it, really to have a feeling and sensation, and like really to get to that experience of that moment. Because the moment when you drink coffee, and it's that moment, it's very small, but it supports you throughout the whole morning or the whole day. If I don't have my moment of like, I enjoy that sip of coffee, I feel I'm missing something. I feel I need it. It's not the drug. It's just like I know I did something for myself to support me to go ahead. So that joy, in order really to have it, the details going to give it to you. So the good quality water, to do like the right amount. I actually measuring everything with grams. I'm going to the details of the chemistry of it. So I taking a food scale, and the food scale show me exact the amount of the grams. of the water, of the coffee, and
You
the
have a
water.
special teapot, you have a special container. Explain
Yes.
the significance of these different items and why they're useful and helpful.
So my go-to coffee, it's drip coffee, and the one I do, it's called pour over. It's one of the oldest way of making coffee, super old way, but still considered the most sophisticated way. So I have a regular gooseneck pot that the neck, the spout, they have like a goose look like of the neck. And because of that, there is control of the amount of water that coming out. And that's a detail that you don't just pour the water and everything is like making a mess with all the grounds and it's just like going through it. It's just going little by little and you make sure that you have even extraction. And because of that, the tools is important. So the gooseneck is a very important tool to have, but not all the time you have it. If you're going to camping, you can still use other things, but you do it very slowly. But the attention to details, that's where I feel like the joy is hidden in the details.
When the other thing I learned I learned many things. I learned about pouring it more slowly, the bloom, that first period of time where you pour the water in just to let the beans degas. And
Oh, wonderful, yes.
I also learned from you that, and I never paid attention, but having the proper grinder. And could you tell us about grinding beans? I mean, you roast them, but you can't just take roasted beans and throw them in a cup, right?
Right. Well, it's fascinating because every detail consider the most important detail. So grinding is also the most important detail. The coffee need to be roasted correctly. That's the most important detail. But if you're not going to grind it correctly, you're not going to have a good extraction. For example, today you can go and buy a grinder that's going to be $12 or $15 on Amazon, and it's called the blade grinder. I think the company Brown make it, or different companies. And that grinder, it's a simple blade that turning in a cup that when you push it, it's zoom, 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 zoom. It's turning very fast. But that grinder, it says on it, coffee grinder. But for my personal opinion, it's not a coffee grinder, it's a spice grinder. Because the grind that the blade do, it's never gonna give you even grind. So it's mean each part of the coffee gonna extract differently. A real coffee grinder, it's burr grinder, B-U-R-R grinder, that it's a method that you put the coffee on top, the coffee coming out on the bottom, and because of that, the cylinder is grinding it evenly. And when it's grinded evenly, the extraction will be even, and that's gonna give you a balanced cup of coffee. And that's like very, very important to have the right size. If it's French press or drip or espresso or Turkish, each size of grind gonna give you different extraction and brewing method.
We purchased in honor of my 50th birthday. I got a burr grinder,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I got to Aharon, my wife and I, we think to ourselves, how did we never do this before? This is such a superior way of preparing coffee beans. It is so much better but until I got it, I didn't understand how chashuv it was, how important it was to the process. You know, another thing for me personally that fascinates me about your work in coffee is the when you're roasting the beans. Can you tell us the spirituality of your bean roasting?
Well, thank you for asking that question. I usually don't talk about it that much, but uh, each time that I roast the coffee, one of the most important thing is like to inject consciousness into the process. So if your consciousness is like want to have goodness and healing for people, that's going to transmit into your action, and that action going to transmit into the beans itself, or the coffee you make, or the food you make. You know, food that made with love, you're going to feel different with food that made with not love. I don't want to use the word hate, but some people, they are angry and this, and they're not, the energy coming into the food, it's not going to be the same. So consciousness is extremely important, and that's one of the most I would say the paradigm of our business. It's the consciousness of the joy of coffee. So each time I roast coffee and I put on the hopper the coffee beans over here, and I let them go inside, this is where they're going into the roaster. When I let it go in, each time I say joy, joy, joy. Why? Because I want people to enjoy it, you know?
Wow.
And I'm
Wow,
thinking
wow,
about
wow,
people
wow.
to have healing, and I want people to have like happiness. That's most important. This is the most important. When I interview people over here to come to work, all the time talking about joy. When I give training, I tell them that before you do the cold brew or you do the pour over, you say joy. You need to say it in order for it to be activated, not just like to think it, because I don't know if you're going to think it or not. You need actually to verbalize it. And whoever stayed to work with us here on the team need to believe it. If they're not believing in it, they cannot be here. Simple, you know, joy, it's the creator gave us our body, and our body is actually, that's what he experienced, joy, all chaos, you know, joy or chaos. There is no other thing, you know. So I want us to share joy. The joy of coffee, this is the paradigm. That's what it's all about. The Aharon coffee, it's all about the joy. If I'm not going to have a joyful experience from it, I should not be here. Simple.
This is a whole different paradigm than the coffee. You can't buy that. You have to experience it. And when I see you make coffee, and I hope everybody has a chance to join you for making coffee, I can attest to the actual joy that you take in the preparation of the making each cup of coffee. It is a beautiful thing to behold. When I'm at home and I'm making coffee, Aharon, could you share with us, the audience, some other things that people might want to think about when they're making coffee in the morning, when they're drinking the coffee that has come to you over the years?
So I want like people to have a joyful experience. In order to have better experience, it's just like to increase the attention to the action you do. If you do the action with like more attention, so you will want to enjoy the cup of coffee. You will want to share with somebody else the coffee that you love and they're going to be happy with. The attention to details, that's what it's boiling down to it. When I roast coffee, it's the most important thing for me that everybody going to enjoy, to move chaos from the world, to have healing, and to be unified with everybody. So I came to the whole concept of roasting coffee because I really love it, only because of that. You know, something that I'm not sure I shared that with you in the past. One of the things that I came to me when I started the business, I wasn't sure why I'm starting the business, but I went to 8 years ago to the Baal Shem Tov for a Tzadikim trip. And when I went to the trip, I brought coffee with me for every day that I'm going to drink the coffee. It was like hot sealed. I went to Target and bought like a hot sealer, like sandwich maker, to seal my coffee bean for every day, for drip coffee, for Shabbat. I was doing it Turkish ground that I can do like coffee on Shabbat. So every day I had my coffee set. And that was kind of, I felt my offering when I coming to the Baal Shem Tov and the Tzaddikim. I'm coming with what I love and my passion. And so it didn't came to me. Then I thinking about it. I feel like what the Tzaddikim gave me and the Baal Shem Tov, it's to connect to my passion at a higher level. And since then, and that's what's happened. That's what I do. Like everything changed for me, and I went in to do coffee professionally. So the attention to details gonna connect you with what you really are, and that's what it's all about, the details. And that's why I want people to do coffee with a little bit more details, and they're gonna enjoy with that more.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, for your coffee, and I hope and pray that people continue to support what you're doing and your delicious, phenomenal coffee. And for me personally, your coffee is helping every day for me to get started on the right foot during this very challenging time. It gives me a pleasure in the morning on a different, it's a whole different experience. And so I really thank you. Really thank you, Aharon.
I know, I appreciate that. And hopefully, like whoever gonna watch this, just go to aharoncoffee.com and we will mail you coffee. Doesn't matter where you are, only in the US.
Wonderful.
We mail coffee to people.
We will make sure that those notes are also in the, that your address and information's in the show notes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Yonah. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Take care. Bye-bye. What a terrific opportunity to drop in on the world of passion. Many of us go through our days with various rituals. Sometimes we're not even conscious of them, and sometimes we are. It's very important during these unsettling and difficult times, especially when so much is not known, when there are so many variables which we don't know, when we can't predict what's going to happen from day to day. Daily rituals such as prayer, exercise, meditation, and yes, making delicious coffee. These rituals help us to feel grounded and help us to feel safe and secure in every single day. So I really thank Aharon for sharing with us his passion and his joy and reminding us of the beautiful details of small things which can bring passion into our lives, and also that the taste of coffee is unlike anything else in the world. Thank you for joining us and tuning into our program. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and share this video with all the coffee lovers that you know.